First video on my channel this year. So if you're watching it after probably January 4th, it's the future. I don't even know if that's a joke. I don't know if that qualifies as a joke. This is going to be podcast style, so if you don't want to look at my face while I talk, none taken. Go fold some laundry, and I'm just going to talk about what I'm optimistic about for the next year. Yeah, the big one is I had intended on shooting sort of a found footage in the woods kind of a horror thriller film November, December of 2024 for scheduling and mostly finance reasons. Didn't. And yeah, the shame of not doing something exists, but it's also, you got to live your life. People got to live their lives. I am chomping at the bit a little bit. I need to make something with a small crew. Get back on set, that style. The for you stuff, the for me stuff of a small crew where like it's your movie and you're making it. There is something a little bit extra exciting about that you don't get when you're just screwing on other people's stuff. A lot of times, not every time. Sometimes you're on a project where you're like, holy crap, I hope this is the thing. I mean, you say that about all the projects. I hope this is the thing, but every so often you get one of those where you get like a vibe about how the story's going and how how things are going, and you go, I hope this is a thing. I guess at least for me, inherently, when it's when I wrote it or I'm producing it or whatever, I have that inherently because I have owner. It's me. It feels like me. So I need to do that. So hopefully sometime this year. Probably it's gonna have to be in the winter, just for convenience sake. Found footage horror film. I need to keep developing it. So, in addition to that, yeah, what else? I had a acquaintance the other day talk about how there's a local thing in town. I'm not in LA. It's pretty obvious if you watch any of my stuff where I am, but I won't say it out loud. Although I feel like I have. It's not a mystery. It's just I make a point to reiterate that I'm not in LA anymore. Yeah, I had an acquaintance tell me about a thing where you pay like $5 or $10 on like a Thursday night, and it's a table read. So actors come, you come and sit down. The door fee is basically what finances the whole thing, and actors will come and sit in and read pages. That is almost exactly the same as an idea that I'm still wanting to do. When I wouldn't say time, mental space to do. I think my version would just be, it would have to be like a table reading series or like a podcast where I don't necessarily think I would take a door fee, but I think the idea would be once a month or once every 2 weeks or something. It's an ongoing call for scripts. And so if you get mine would be 30ish pages, 30 pages plus or minus 5. So like, a sitcom or half of a hour long show, or an act of a screenplay, an act of a feature, and have the actors set up ahead of time, and then you do it, and then there'll be a host or myself will read the direction, stage direction, and then the actors will knock it out, and then the idea being shoot it, record it, make sure everybody involved has their social medias and all that kind of stuff that they get to say, sort of Smosh style, if that makes sense. The way Smosh sort of just opens it up the floor. I don't know. I'm still developing this idea, but the idea is pretty much just another way to get pages noticed, but also give actors an opportunity to, in the smallest of ways, act. Obviously, a table read is not the same thing as doing a stage scene. I got a frog in my throat, but it's any time you can get a bunch of actors in a room doing something like acting, I feel like is for the benefit actors, if that makes sense. It's better than having to shoot a reel or having to, do a taped audition and have people look at your taped audition with no context, if that makes sense. Yeah, I should try to get into a workshop or get a workshop going again because I haven't written a proper script in a minute. And by a minute, it's been a year. I think I turned in a feature horror script over a year ago, October, so 18 months ago is the last time I did it. So I need to work on that. Ironically, most of my creative, narrative, creative energy has gone into the YouTube channel. Not that you can tell. I say that facetiously, but I also say that honestly. For some reason, the YouTube of it all scratches the same itch that is doing pages, I guess, and it's way less painful. It's way less painful. Great job, brain. It's more for some reason it's more satisfying to do YouTube than it is to do pages, and maybe I'm just lazy, or maybe I just have a bad relationship with writing right now. I don't know. But yeah, I had somebody a while back be like, "Well, you don't write. You're never writing." And I'm like, "Well, that's true. I'm not writing a half-hour sitcom, or I'm not writing a movie, and I should be, but I am writing at least one night a week to try to get a YouTube thing out." The writing is a lot of definitions on that one. I'm going to make a point this year, unless finances take a dramatic shift, which it feels like they are, because I feel like I made almost twice as much money in the second half of last year as I did the first half. So if finances change, maybe I'll eat my words, but I'm not going to buy gear this year. I'm happy with my camera. I'm happy with how it's set up. I'm happy with the tripod. I'm happy with my light stands and stuff. Yeah. I feel like I'm not outgrowing my lights because I have some chip on board, like basically aperture lights. They're not aperture, they're cheapo lights, but so those I feel like I'm outgrowing the stuff I have for them, which is to say I need to get a little bit more creative, maybe invest some more curtains and stuff, curtains and shower curtains. I was gonna say shower towels, but you can't really shoot through a shower towel. I spent a lot of last year, especially on the YouTube channel, messing with lighting for this, in addition to messing with how I shoot it. But obviously how I shoot it is pretty consistent. I think I'm going to stop messing with that. I need to push myself with lighting, and lighting inside a little tiny room like this. You can only do it so many ways. This time I didn't. Feel free to guess, by the way, on why this looks the way it looks. I did some weird camera trickery. I messed with some settings. But I'll give the hint is this lamp is on, and it's 50%. It's a lamp. And then I'm using just the boob lights overhead. That's an awkward way to put your hand. I'm using the boob lights overhead, and so sometimes they flicker, but on and off because this room is old and pretending to die. But yeah, and I think it looks interesting. This is an interesting look. So, what else? Yeah, I get recharged when I'm away from other filmmakers for a while. When I'm back with them, I get recharged, and we get that sort of like euphoria that is, oh man, it's us against the world. We can do anything. And then you do that I guess for me, it's like 18 months, 2 years of that. And then you get burned out, especially if you guys are all like us guys are all trying to do either identical things and nobody's having success, which happens a lot in the writing directing side of it, or we're all doing separate things, and it's just like you start out in the same place and you all go in a million different directions, and it's just like you can't. I don't know. It's more like a buddy system than it is a team push, if that makes sense. We're not on the same football team. we just like playing football, and we try to get together in the park every Sunday and try to do it. And you know, sometimes you make Sunday in the park, sometimes you don't. If that makes sense. In addition to that, I'm chewing on some ideas in the long term. One that I have been chewing on for a couple of years is the idea of off season for like camps, like sleepaway camps or something like that, something that has a proper off season. My monitor just died. That's kind of scary. Hopefully, I didn't kill my HDMI cable, HDMI port. Yeah, I've been chewing on this idea of like specifically like sleepaway camps on the off season, which is especially in the Northeast where there's so many, a huge chunk of the year. As long as those places have power and or heat, I feel like those could be a really good film set situation to get some use out of the camp. Because you have sort of all the studio stuff except for the being in town thing, but you have lodging for the actors and crew, you have a kitchen for catering, you have what else? You have buildings. You have different buildings, which is awesome. You can sometimes there's a gym or some big covered inside building that you could turn into a standing set if you needed to. But I don't know. I've been chewing on this idea for a while, and I just want nothing to do with the higher budget financing stuff and or property management stuff. It's just I don't know anything about it, and it gives me the heebie-jeebies, but it's one of those ideas that still tickles the back of my brain often. Especially there's so many what are called movie ranches out where I am, where a lot of times they're literally ranches that just have either spots on the ranch for filmmaking, or it's just a ranch that is friendly to filmmaking. And so, I feel like you could turn a movie ranch out of a lot of things. Sleepaway Camp is one. I worked on a show that basically, like, during the week, the most convenient place to book in town was always a church. Church or there were a lot of like abandoned, I'm in Texas. There's a lot of like old high schools that have been retooled into other stuff because Texas loves to build schools, gigantic schools, and then just keep building them. And so there's a lot of churches, which for the weekday are pretty available to shoot. There's a lot of schools that are now like turned into like other things, sometimes even apartment buildings, but that's a different conversation, I guess. I do feel like that should address some housing stuff, but it's a different conversation. And then it's also like ball fields. Like Texas is known for ball fields. So yeah, stadiums. Every high school has a stadium, basically. That's the stereotype, at least. So I think that's interesting. I think the movie ranch of it all, because yes, if you want to make a movie that takes place in New York, you either shoot in New York or you shoot in Toronto or Vancouver that looks like New York. But if you don't need to do that and you don't want to be in a situation where you're in the middle of nowhere, I feel like, especially in New England, there's a lot of sleepaway camps that are not that far from civilization, as it were, already have the basic necessities that a studio provides, except for film equipment, and film equipment is pretty easy to move around now. Prior to COVID, we shot a documentary using lens rentals and just had them ship the equipment to where we were going every single time, and it was kind of awesome. So other things I feel like I want to chew on. I think maybe the next thing I'm going to really develop in earnest is I want to do like a bar trivia thing, but instead of bar trivia, it's going to be like some sort of storytelling thing. There's RPGs, role-playing games are fun, but I feel like Smosh sort of hits the sweet spot in the entertainment value of it partially because all of their cast members are sort of known, or at least in the Smosh community. So when they do an RPG, they can sort of slide into either one of their characters they've developed or just be themselves, and that's a character. I don't think that necessarily caters super good to bar trivia style, situations, but just either a local game show that's not bar trivia, or like a local RPG that lasts like an hour or two, as like a show. Thursday nights are music nights, so this would be like a Tuesday night kind of a thing where, yeah, it's a show, but it's not improv theater. It's not, you're not watching Improv 101, that kind of thing. I know I said that cynically, but I've just seen a lot of Improv 101. I've seen a lot of Improv 101, and I've seen a lot of open mic stand-up comedy, and life's too short. I mean, it was too short when I was watching it all the time. Life's too short now. If you're doing that kind of stuff, you have my deepest respect and my deepest condolences, because it's a hard life, and if you get good at it and you get through it, congratulations, you're crushing it. But I just, as a person who values their time and their personal happiness above many things, sitting through stand up, sitting through open mics and sitting through, first year improv is just, yeah, you know, I I assume it's the same experience as when your kids start doing sports, but then you're invested because you want to see your kid do well, and you want to see, yeah, I don't know. Nah, I'm speaking out of school. What else? Um, I might do an honest push to try to get into more creative agencies, and like, I don't want to say the dirty word, but videographer work. Not my school of school, but I can do it. A lot of the stuff I do now is videographer adjacent, and a lot of times it's camera operating. So I obviously I have the skills and the wherewithal, but I think I don't know. I just have this, like, I don't know if this is conceited or if this is just so an experience that I just haven't heard enough people talk about, but I feel like I need to be utilized as a producer, and I'm not, and I think it's time I push myself out there as an in-house person for somebody. I yeah, I'm working adjacent to that stuff in audio video right now, and I enjoy it, but I also realize there's just not a long life for it. It's just, it is what it is. Whereas if I was doing stuff on commercials or on, small narrative stuff or documentary stuff, I would at least feel like I was contributing contributing stuff that I have gone out of my way to hone, if that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe that's a little too obnoxious. What else? Probably got to get my eyes checked because, let me think which one it is. Is it this one or this one? This one, has always seen things a little bit bluer, and for color grading purposes, that's gotten a little bit tricky. Not super bad, but also I've noticed my driving at night has gotten way shittier. So a little worried, a little concerned, especially because I'd rather go deaf than blind, and I'd rather watch a movie than have to listen to a movie, if that makes sense. So I need to work on that. What else can we talk about? Am I optimistic about Hollywood movies coming out? I'm going to see Nosferatu this weekend with a friend, and I'm very excited. I've gone back to seeing movies. I don't know if that has made this, since I've stopped and started so many times. I am not optimistic about a lot of movies coming out, mostly because there's not a lot of movies coming out, and that sucks. And that's not what this video is about. But maybe I'll talk about that at some point. I don't know. That's worth it. The YouTube channel is growing with little tiny, chipping aways. I don't feel any kind of way about that. I'm glad people are subscribing. I'm glad people are watching. I'm glad people are talking to me. I'd say it's about 70-30 people getting what I'm doing versus people really not, and that's fine. Hey, that's fine. I'm not one to organically comment on stuff. It's not my thing. But I make a point to, especially in the first week of my video being out, to talk with people, to chat. I get it. I've stayed away from live streaming on this for a minute. I still don't know how I feel about the live streaming of it all. I was using it as like a workshop thing, but I don't know. I don't understand live streaming. Oh, that's the other thing. So I got it's not going to get up. I did buy a camera, so that whole "don't buy new gear" thing has already been proven to be a lie. I got a 360 camera. I got a pretty old one actually. That is just, my God. Even though this, let me grab it actually. Okay. So it's the Insta360 X. So I think we're on the X4 now. So this is the original version from like 5 years ago. And it's rad. It's very cool. I hate that the memory card is right next to the quarter 20. That drives me nuts. I'm trying to figure out if there is something going on with 360 video. I've edited a little bit. I haven't put anything on this channel that is that. I was thinking this would be a good BTS, behind the scenes camera. That's what people are using it for film. But I just wanted to show like my lighting setup. In this video, I've mentioned I'm going to sort of back off in the lighting thing. So maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm not sure about this. Initial thoughts, it's interesting. It's basically a GoPro with a camera on either side. The reason I bought this one was it was the cheapest one of these I could find that did the in camera stitching, so that you get the whole circle, the whole sphere. I like that it has a rechargeable battery that you can take out. I don't have another one. I believe you can power it just off of a brick battery, so I will be doing that. Yeah, the quarter 20 on the bottom, right next to the memory card. That is the hardest memory card to pull out I've ever had. I've chipped my thumbnail on the memory card every time I've used it. I don't know how I feel about that. The workflow with 360 is awful. As someone who does their entire production for YouTube through DaVinci Resolve in one sitting, the idea that I have to use their software to turn it into a movie and then send it to DaVinci Resolve if I want to do anything with it annoys me to no end, and I'm not good at it, and it doesn't feel like one of those things that I'll get better at because it's clunky as hell. The other thing is, it took me a week to get this camera to turn on and work, because you have to have an iPhone of a certain generation or newer, and it has to be an iPhone. Yeah, it has to, I think it has to be an iPhone. No, it has to be an iPhone or a Samsung of a certain generation, or Google phone, Pixel phone. Anyway, I don't have any of that. I have a $100 smartphone that just barely gets me by, and it would not talk to this. So I had to find a family member with a new generation iPhone to get this to log in the credentials so I could get it to record. It would just turn on and say battery charging. Hateful. I don't even know how to say. it's crazy. So maybe I'll eventually put a video up talking about my experience coming into 360 with no experience prior to 360 at all. I don't know. I want to try to make this as an idea work before I really openly complain about it on my channel properly, because I feel like there's a way to make it work. I had an idea of, pop one of these, probably a nicer one than this, into the middle of a play, like a community theater, children's theater thing, and maybe even get was it by Arnold audio, the one with the two directions with the ears, one of those. And so you see the play from the middle. Obviously most plays the audience is facing one direction, and so it goes audience, front of stage, actors, back of stage, which is all where the stage dressing is, all the backgrounds and stuff. So that's sort of a two-dimensional thing, but I could see this being, especially if the play was set up in the round, which is a thing. Shakespeare did it. Wasn't the Globe Theater around? Put this in the middle. That'd be really interesting. Is that a new way of experiencing something? I don't know. Especially for how hard I shit on the Facebook Meta glasses the other day. I'm not optimistic that that's going to be a common use case. Anyway, I don't know about that. And also, my final gripe is, because the Core 20 is so close to the memory card, but I have to take the memory card out in order to you can't just plug in a USB and plug this into your computer. It doesn't work that way. You can either send little tiny files to your phone if you have a fancy enough phone, or you just take the memory card out. But the quarter 20 screw is so close to it that you have to unscrew it from whatever it's on, and you're probably always going to have it screwed onto something because you want to be able to hold it away from you. It's insane. It's insane. So I've been trying to find a slick way to, keep something screwed in while still being able to take the memory card out, and I have yet to find anything. Anything else I want to talk about? YouTube for me has consistently been one thing. It's been a bunch of things intermittently, but consistently the one thing it's been is a sandbox for ideas, a sandbox for playing with my gear, a sandbox for keeping some of the harder creativities, like camera placement, lighting, and that kind of, and performance. Although I don't see that being a thing ever for me, because here's your example. It keeps me sharper than not doing it at all, and I appreciate that. And also it scratches the itch of, I like to jump on to new ideas quickly, and I like to get those ideas done as quickly as possible because I get bored with ideas. That's why I try to get scripts when I write them, which hasn't been in a while. I try to get them done as quickly as physically possible so I can put them away and come back in sobriety down the road when I've had time to mentally disconnect from it and come back and go, Matt, you idiot, you should have fixed this way. And then I fix it. I need to do that on some stuff. So, yeah, I mean, movie business seems on fire. The TV business seems on fire. YouTube algorithm seems as confusing, if not more confusing than ever. And I don't care. I'm happy to say that in the ups and downs of me caring, I don't care, and I don't see caring changing anytime soon about that, which I'm happy about. Yeah, I guess my big question, other than does this image look okay, because I fooled around, is what are you watching these days? What are you guys watching? Like, how do you watch it? How do you find it? And Yeah, because I'm always noodling. I'm using my old noodle to try to figure out, hey, you could make Killing Eve for $5 million an episode, and it looks like Killing Eve, and it is Killing Eve, and it's awesome. Seasons 1 and 2 definitely. Is there a way to make Killing Eve for $10,000 an episode? Ignoring actors' fees and that kind of thing. I'm always thinking about that, and I feel like we're always getting there. TikTok remains alive, and I'm not even upset. I'm just confused at this point. TikTok remains alive. Yeah, that and LinkedIn being a social media platform baffle the shit out of me. So, how you guys feeling about how do you guys feeling about things? Where are you guys watching stuff? Now that I've talked a big game, I'm hoping the shame of this video makes me start accomplishing the stuff that I was talking about, because I cared enough about it not only to mention it but to remember it, which is, you know, congratulations to me. I don't remember people's names, but I can remember talking about these kind of things over and over again. So yeah, maybe I'll make some stuff this year. Like, share, subscribe if you care to. Catch you, yeah, later.